Okay, hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the F1 Manager, Minardi Manager series, where obviously we're trying to take Minardi to be the best team around, and obviously we already had a win in Imola, we had a half-decent result in Silverstone, pick up a few points there, but now at Catalunya, a track which we did alright at during the test day. We came 4th during that test day, so shows promise we might be able to do well at that track, and obviously I'll talk about this race in a bit more detail a bit later on. But now one thing I just want to clear up, just in case you're really eagle-eyed and you haven't noticed, I've got about 500-600 grand less than I had when I ended off the last episode. That is because I had I arranged a technical director for next year, and I terminated their contract because I looked back over the stats of this person and looked over the stats of another person, and basically I changed person because that person wasn't contracted yet. So luckily I've now changed my technical director, and that's why, because I had to terminate this contract, I had to pay 600 odd grand or around that to terminate his contract. So now we got a better, or at least more suited to what I need from a technical director, let's put it that way. Yeah, so that's why I've got less money. But anyway, let's cut on to any news as and when it comes. So here you can see I've just reapplied the Frezza office furniture sponsor because they wanted to renew their contract. So I gave them that space, which you can see there on the car, and that space there, which you can see in the car. So I've just renewed their contract, their sponsorship contract, 70 grand a race for 4 races, I believe. So yeah, we got Frezza back on the car along with PlayStation and Red Bull. So yeah, let's see if any more news comes in. And here we have got some more news. Ford Zetec engines, as we know, they're the worst that you can get, and they've slowed down the McLaren team a lot, from a team that won the Drivers and Constructors title last year to a team which really are, I mean, they're second in Constructors, actually joint with us, but they're nowhere near the front. They should be defending Schumacher, not just letting him breeze on by. But despite this performance drop, McLaren are still considering using Ford Zetec engines next year, which would be especially bad because think about it, McLaren won't have the benefit of a good chassis like they have this year, because obviously they got the Neil Oatley chassis this year. They won't have that next year. I don't know who their designer is this year, but it's not as good as Neil Oatley, so chassis is going to go downhill. But if they have Ford Zetec engines next year, they're going to just go downhill even more, obviously with the worse engines and worse chassis, so it's madness. But I'll cut to more news, because the other news on this news screen is just, it's got spoilers for my technical director that I've got for next year. Well, I changed my technical director, and I'll give you a hint, and I'll explain this later on in the series when I do actually announce my technical director. But my hint is, I wanted to cause unrest at Ferrari. That's why I've done this, okay? Because Ferrari are pretty dominant, so I've arranged my technical director in such a way that it should cause unrest and confusion at Ferrari. But anyway, I'll leave you to ponder on that, and see if any more news comes in. Alright, so guys, we're here for, I think, one of the most exciting announcements we're going to get this series, one of the most exciting contracts. New components deal from McLaren. Now, is it Ford Zetec engines? Oh wow, it is as well. Oh dear, McLaren, what is Ron Dennis doing? What is Ron Dennis doing? Wow. Ford Zetec engines again, so the worst they can get. So Jordan have reconfirmed their use of Ford Zetec, and so have McLaren, so they're going to be... Actually, Jordan won't go downhill because they've got Rory Bryn as their chief designer, I believe. I'm pretty certain this year they've got Rory Bryn as their chief designer, so at least they're going to get a decent chassis next year. But McLaren, they're not going to have a good chassis, and they're going to have rubbish engines. Wow, that's brilliant. It's just like last year. It's one of the best bits of news I've heard all series. But yeah, we'll see what other, hopefully amazing news comes in. Alright then, so Neil Oatley has designed new suspension, so the third model of suspension, and at the same time the third model of side pods. So we're just going to have to get Mike Gascoigne, that's the one. Mike Gascoigne to manufacture these new side pods and new suspension units. Obviously he's not going to manufacture enough in time for the race, which we've seen loads of times before in this series, but hopefully he's made enough of the barge boards. Wow, 28 of the first model. Yes, he's made 4 of the new barge boards, so we will be able to use the new barge boards in this race coming up in Spain. Because obviously last race, Neil Oakley designed them in time, but Mike Gascoigne couldn't manufacture enough of them in time, which we've seen a couple of times this series already, but it's going to happen again with the side pods and suspensions, unfortunately. But anyway, yeah, that's why I've got a new technical director. Yeah, as I said, well, I've got a new technical director, 1 to cause unrest at Ferrari, and 2 because the skills better match what I need from a technical director. So that should give you a little clue as to who it is, and yeah, we'll see if any more news comes in. Oh, okay, hey guys, we have got our first driver announcement, or driver confirmation. Sauber confirms Pedro Diniz is their driver number 2. Now, Pedro Diniz, why do I get the impression he's not at Sauber already? Well, I mean, I know he was originally, but is he? I don't. No, hang on, no, he is. No, that's actually that's not anything different at all. Because obviously Sauber, I'm pretty certain, assuming I've got this right, that Sauber this year, their driver 1's Minardi and their driver 2 is Diniz. I'm pretty certain that's the case, yeah, so well done. So Sauber have reconfirmed Pedro Diniz. I suppose it's not surprising, but at the end of the day, it's not a bad deal. It's not like Neil McEwen, which we've seen Ferrari sign up, and that's all the news. And I'll just show you this next day. I forgot to. New components deal for McLaren. Now, I didn't show you guys this, but there was a rumour of McLaren using Tag Electronics and of them using AP Racing brakes. So, joint best brakes or rubbish electronics. Let's see which one it is. It's the Tag Electronics, so mediocre ones. Actually, I don't know, well, they're not the best anyway. For McLaren, surely, with them using Ford Zetec engines, they need all the help they can get, but no, Tag Electronics, that's a bad move for them. And I think we're only 1 day away from the race. Yeah, we are actually, so there you go. So, Spanish Grand Prix, well, we did well at the test day earlier on this year, but since then we've had all of our aero parts improved, we've had our engines improved from Mercedes, we've had AP Racing and Magneti and Marelli send us better models of brakes and electronics, and also we were beaten by Ferrari that test day, who had Luca Padoa as their test driver, and obviously brilliant driver we saw last year, but also a race driver, well, a former race driver. McLaren had Olivier Panis, so both of those teams actually had an unfair advantage over us. And we actually had the worst test driver, obviously Owen Green, so coming 4th, despite having the worst driver, and bearing in mind our car has improved a lot since then, might be able to do alright this race, hopefully get some points. But as long as we finish 4th, which obviously, well, 2 cars will be 7th and 8th, I'll be happy. Anything above 7th and 8th from our drivers, then we know that we've improved from the rest of the field, and with us having the joint best design on the grid along with Jordan, we really should have actually improved on the rest of the field, because you can see how quickly Neil Oakley can design parts, and the fact we got the best engine supplier and the best brake supplier and the best electronic supplier. We really should have improved on the field, but let's go and see whether that's the case with either any interesting practice news or the formal qualifying reports. So I'll see you guys then. Okay, so hey guys, so we have got a couple of interesting things from this practice session. One is Stewart are finally actually getting somewhere, because Stewart, well look, Jarno Trulli's 8th and Eddie Irvine is 12th, which is quite a bit better than we have seen from Stewart this season, because Stewart have really been underperforming this season, but they've done alright this practice session so far. I mean, Jarno Trulli did actually do 14 laps, which is a lot, well, at least 14 laps, but he still got 8th, he still beat us, so that's really good. And bearing in mind, Stewart did actually get 3rd in the test day, which is also around this track, so we kind of, it was a bit of a surprise for Stewart to come 3rd in the test day, but yet be way down the field. But it seems like the track where they did well during the test day is also the track where they're finally actually getting somewhere. And obviously, we're low down because our driver's only on hold position, so fair enough. And Neil McEwen's the other interesting thing, he's actually 2nd for once. I mean, that's brilliant. So well done to Neil McEwen, actually finally, you know, just behind his teammate, I think for the first time since Australia, where Neil McEwen overtook Schumacher at the start, which was amazing. And one more interesting thing, Fisichella's third, that's brilliant for McLaren, but Johnny Herbert down 13th, so there's a massive gap there, but obviously this is only the practice session, so that's not really what matters, it's actually the qualifying that really matters. So let's see if anything changes from here to the qualifying session. Okay, so the qualifying session around the Circuit de Catalunya for the 5th round of the 2000 season has just ended, and it's actually been one of the more interesting qualifying sessions this season. So let's have a look at how the grid stacks up for tomorrow's race. The dominant Michael Schumacher in the equally dominant Ferrari is in a very commanding and very dominant pole position, as he set a lap time 4 seconds a lap, which is absolutely astounding, but it's 4 seconds a lap faster than second place man, which was actually his teammate Neil McEwen, who finally seems to have stepped up to the plate for the first time since Australia in the first round this season. But Neil McEwen, while he's significantly slower than his more experienced teammate, is still second and actually ahead of the equally surprising third place man, which is Takaki in the Williams. And this is the first time this season that Takaki has outqualified his teammate Ralf Schumacher. While there was some controversy about him and his contract with Minardi before the British Grand Prix, Takaki has picked himself up and has had an amazing performance as he's in third. Mika Salo, the main man at Minardi, although he is the driver number 2 at Minardi, he's definitely outperforming his teammate, as he has done consistently this season, as Mika Salo is in 4th, with Jean Alesi in the Benetton in 5th, which is a very good performance for him, especially as he's away ahead of his teammate, and Johnny Herbert in the McLaren is 6th, which is surprising considering how Fisichella was the faster McLaren during practice, but when it matters in qualifying, Johnny Herbert was faster than his teammate. Damon Hill just misses out on a top 6 position in the other Minardi, with both stewards of Eddie Irvine and Jarno Trulli lining up behind him. Ralf Schumacher puts in a disappointing performance in the second Williams, and it's the first time this season that he's been out-qualified by his teammate, with Giancarlo Fisichella in 11th, which is surprising as the man who has a number 1 on his car really isn't living up to that number. Jacques Villeneuve couldn't replicate his Silverstone qualifying as he's in 12th, with David Coulthard way behind his teammate, with David Coulthard in 13th. Wirtz in the Sauber is 14th, with Ricardo Zonta 15th in the Prost. Runsbauer, Kell and Heinz Alfredson have disappointing qualifying sessions in the Jordan, as they line up 16th and 17th, with Zanardi in the Sauber 18th. Pedro Diniz in the Prost, who has recently been confirmed to go into Sauber next year, and possibly taking Alexander Wirtz's seat, lined up 19th, which is a dreadful qualifying session, and is probably going to put some doubts in Sauber's head as to why they signed him. And Laurent Redon continues this season as being the most disappointing and underperforming driver, as he's down in 20th and the last person to set a lap time. Now both arrows of Marc Genet and Pedro de la Rosa were unable to set a lap time for unknown reasons, and we know that they had engine troubles last year, but the chance of them running out of engines in only the 5th round this season is extremely unlikely, but why they didn't set any lap times this qualifying session is completely unknown. Okay, so hey guys, so that was the qualifying report with some really weird results, to be honest. I mean, madness, but I kind of already covered it in the qualifying report, and as I said, I can't have made a mistake. Pedro Diniz is at Prost at the minute, not at Sauber. It's actually Alexander Wirtz is at Sauber this season, but Pedro Diniz is going to Sauber next season. But anyway, we've got, one thing I do want to say actually is, we are still on the second model of side pod and suspension, because as per usual, Mike Gascoigne wasn't able to manufacture enough of them in time, but we are debuting the new barge boards, where we did use them in practice and qualifying, but it's the first race that we're going to be using these barge boards in, and we just got to set up the race strategy with obviously Mika Salo pitting in a lap later to put some more fuel in his car, and hopefully this time Mike Gascoigne has done his maths. I would hope he has, and isn't isn't over-fueling the car, but I'll take his word for it because I cannot be bothered to work it out myself. So let's just head on to the Spanish Grand Prix. So we'll put both of our drivers on push, especially as they didn't qualify as high up as they have done previously this year. And Mika Salo there in 4th. Now, can he get past Takaki and the both Ferraris? He's right by Neil McEwen, and Neil McEwen has actually held him up there. And both Arrows are at the back. They're going extremely slowly, but Mika Salo, it looks like he might actually be passed by... What was going on at the back of the field? That was madness. But Mika Salo, we got a replay of him. Is he actually going to get past Jean Lacey? Jean Lacey jumped up at the start, and Damon Hill was getting close to Mika Salo, but Mika Salo has lost a place off the start, and there's a logjam at the first corner, but Mika Salo has actually lost the places off the start as he was held up by Neil McEwen, and not only has Mika Salo lost a place, Neil McEwen I think also lost a place, and Jacques Villeneuve going round the inside and now switching to the outside line, okay, but I believe he got past whoever that was. Mika Salo now under threat from his teammate. Can he get past Jean Lacey? Deserves to. He did out-qualify Jean Lacey, and I don't think he made the move. It was a bit of an ambitious move if he made it. And Ralf Schumacher's down. Yeah, no, he didn't. Oh, no. No, it looked like he was like in way down the field. And Ralf Schumacher, I think he got past David Coulthard there. I don't think he did, actually. Is that Laurent Redon? That's got to be low down the field. That's got to be Laurent Redon. Actually, credit to Laurent Redon, he has made up a lot of positions there. Or if that's Jacques Villeneuve, then he's lost a lot of positions, but either way, no, that can't be Laurent Redon, that has to be Jacques Villeneuve. Laurent Redon, it says, is in 21st. Now, Alexander Wirtz, who seems to have been replaced for next season, well, seems to be replaced next season for Pedro Diniz, and he's got past the Prost, possibly Pedro Diniz. No, he didn't get past the Prost, actually. I wonder if that was Pedro Diniz. He tried the move on, because that would have been very interesting if it was. And back up here, both Minardis. What is going on? So both of our drivers are on push. But look, Neil McEwen is holding up Jean Lacey. So Neil McEwen, he had a decent qualifying session. Well, I say that, he was 4 seconds a lap behind his teammate, but he still got second anyway. And any more moves? I just want to check, see if anything happens. I know we've done the first lap. Johnny Herbert. Actually, Fisichella's done well to get just behind Johnny Herbert. Well, there you go. So I'll keep both Salo and Hill on push for up to lap 5, which I think is my new strategy I'm going to do. Neil McEwen's down in 6th. Okay, so he's got by far and away the best car on the grid, and he can't make use of it. And now, here's the interesting thing. We've seen this season, when Ralf Schumacher gets past us, he pulls away. But Takaki's in the same car, but he's a much worse driver. And we actually, well, we're on push, so I don't really want to leave it on push for too long, as it could provoke a drop. Well, put it on hold position and see what happens. And how far away is Ralf Schumacher? Well, 2.6 seconds. He's not far behind Damon Hill at all there. We'll put on hold position. We'll see what happens. With Takaki holding second, that will be by far and away the best position he's ever finished in, which I believe his previous best finish was 4th, I think maybe at Australia, but I'm just going off of memory here, and both Williams get past us. David Coulthard, so he's out-qualified by his teammate, but he's definitely out-racing his teammate. Well, David Coulthard in 5th, good old David, so David and Damon are right next to each other, so 2 Brits are making up the back end of the points. And now, okay, Damon Hill, he's really been underperforming for us this season, like big time, so we may as well put him on push, to be honest, because he's not in the points, and if he's not in the points, then nerd. Whereas Mikasawa's still in the points, so I don't want to. Giano Trulli out with another retirement. I feel so sorry for this guy. Didn't score any points last year, moved to Stewart, very promising team. Another retirement, another one. And Mikasawa's still holding 5th. Damon Hill's now got past Mikasalo. Or that. No, I don't believe that's a pit stop. That's just, it's too early for pit stops. Put him back on hold position. I really don't know what to do at this moment in time. 5th and 6th are Minardis, I'll take that. If the race were to end now, I would happily accept that. Damon Hill in the points, Salo in the points. It's one of the few times this season we've seen Salo. Okay, it was one of the few times where we saw Salo ahead of Damon Hill. Damon Hill, okay, it's a pit stop thing. Bruins Barrichello with a driver error. Oh no, that's disappointing. Fisichella with a fuel issue of some sort. So what's interesting, both Arrows are still in the race despite not being able to qualify. God knows why. It's not like they've run out of engines, that doesn't happen until the later rounds. And we are way behind the other guys. I hope this is just a pit stop. Oh wow, it looked like we were going to be passed then by Ferrari. And we were actually, hang on, we were lapped by Michael Schumacher, so we've been lapped at least once. That was actually the 3rd time we've been lapped. Ferrari dominance, I'm telling you. Salo's on push, Damon Hill's on push, okay. So if we're not in the points, we may as well just turn to push, you know, we're not going to lose anything. And if we do retire from a driver error, I'm not going to blame him because we are telling him to push, so fair enough. But we're nowhere, we're nowhere near Jean Alesi. I think we've been truly outperformed. No, we're only 2.5 seconds. Wait, okay, we have caught up with Jean Alesi and Damon. No, that's not Damon Hill. Just in front. Car number. Can't even see what car number that is. That is. I do not know. Car number 10. Okay, who's car number 10? No, hang on, that's Jean. What? Okay, oh no, right, there's someone in between. Ah, right, okay, car number 12 is holding up Jean Alesi. Who's car number 12? Zanardi. Oh, great, Zanardi's holding up us from getting to Jean Alesi. So, yeah. Just outside the points. Mikasar's in the points again. We attempt to hold position. This hasn't been one of our stronger races. We haven't been on form as we have been in races previously, but we came 4th in the test day. That works out of being 7th and 8th. And with one of the cars who was ahead of us in the test day retiring, then, yeah, it makes perfect sense for us to be 6th and 7th. Marc Genet with a suspension failure. And now both of our guys are in the points. 4th and 5th, what is going on? Takaki had a suspension failure. Schumacher's had a suspension failure. Right, that means theoretically, well, we're actually within a shout for the race win, especially as Jean Alesi's had an engine failure. We are now in 3rd and 4th. We're actually, okay, we're Damon Hill driver error, right, okay, that's a warning to us. Oh, okay, Salo was already on hold position. I don't know whether to be angry at Damon Hill there, but we did turn to push. Mental energy was probably drained, because obviously we're turning to push for so long, he probably was just drained by it. Salo electronics failure! We're not going to get any points this race, because we've had a Magneti Marelli electronics failure. And that is gutting, we really could have... I mean, David Coulthard, what? There's like 6 cars in the race now. Neil McEwen's actually going to get some half-decent points for once. Wow. 4 cars finished. Only 4 cars finished the race. Wow, now that... Is that the least amount of finishes we've ever seen from a race this series? 4? What happened? Car retirements just went through the roof. Damon Hill, fair enough. We were telling him to push for a long time. His mental energy went down, fair enough. But Salo electronics failure, we've really got to have words of Magneti Marelli for that. Although, Ferrari also used Magneti Marelli's and Neil McEwen retired with an electronics failure as well. So, I don't know, maybe we got a dodgy batch of electronics this race, I don't know, but that seems the case. So, that's a shame we lost out on what could easily have been second or third. Possibly, if we're able to have a really good performance, possibly could have been the second win. But David Coulthard wins in the Circuit de Catalunya at Spain. Heinz Alfredson second. Jacques Villeneuve third. The last finisher was Laurent Redon. So Laurent Redon has scored points. I mean, that's not to say he's a good driver. He is still a terrible driver. He's just been able to keep it on the road where everyone else hasn't. Neil McEwen's outscored his teammate for the first time ever because he was the last one to retire. And Ralf Schumacher also got a point because inevitably he retired, but I don't know. Well, he retired on the same lap as Zonta, so you never know. We could have got into it. Could have been another Ralf Schumacher scrap, possibly. We all know what he's like with getting into them. And that was a pretty insane race. So, wow. Although David Coulthard was the 4th fastest car on track, so fair enough. He kind of deserved to win, and I've got no problems with David Coulthard winning. I love David, so fair enough. Good for him. He's won. We've got no points, but we're in a very commanding position in constructors, and our main rivals in constructors are Jordan and McLaren. And McLaren didn't outscore us, and Jordan did, but oh well. David Coulthard wins at the Circuit de Catalunya. Rocco Benetton was ecstatic. He should be. I think that's the first win they got this entire series. And yep, yada yada yada. Yeah, whatever. Nothing interesting there. No one was impressed by our performance. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It's not a few times this season, this series, we've had a double retirement. Oh, wow, retirement. Speaking about retirements, okay, so there were 2 races last year which had a ton of retirements, and as such were the only 2 races where we scored points last year. We've had one of them, Imola, and we're going to have the second one, Nürburgring, where that was an interesting race. We almost lapped a Sauber that race. What else happened? Well, we almost lapped a Sauber. That was pretty interesting. What else happened? Lots of things. It was a brilliant race. Oh, that was the race where Arrows ran out of engines. That won't be the case this time, because obviously only the 6th round of 16. Now let's have an update. Drivers' Championship. Schumacher's still commanding it. Although Salo could have caught up quite a few points if the electronics didn't fail, but that's the way it goes, unfortunately. Where's David Coulthard? Yeah, he's moved up to 4th. Fair enough. I mean, deserves to. Constructors, yep. Jordan are right behind us now, and so are Williams, and so are Benetton. Oh, wow. And BAR got some decent points. Okay. Early on in the series, earlier on, like a couple of races ago, it looked like our 6th place in the Constructors was settled, but with Williams scoring some good points, Jordan scoring good points, and Benetton scoring good points, you know, I mean, we're fairly safe with a 6th position, but BAR, they had a decent performance in Silverstone, what's stopping them from getting some points and overtaking us, but we could easily get to 2nd, but at the same time we could easily drop down to 6th. I mean, 6's all we need, but it would be disappointing if we fell down there. I'm still the highest rated manager. Ron Dennis is down there, he should be, with his contracts he's arranging. And yeah, I think that's everything. So yeah, next race is around Europe. Well, it's not around Europe. It's the European Grand Prix around Nürburgring. One of the 2 races last year where we scored points, one of the 3 races we scored points. We scored points at Suzuka as well, didn't we? But one of the few races where we scored points last year, we actually got 2 points that race. It was actually our best finishing position last race, because then we get a 6th in Suzuka, a 6th in Imola, and we got a 5th in Nürburgring. So it's actually been last year it was our most successful track. So you never know what's stopping us getting another win, what's stopping us getting a double podium. You never know. And with it being in Germany, hopefully Mercedes can send us the next model of engine. I honestly have no idea whether they will, but would be nice. Give us a nice performance boost before that race. But I'll see you guys to that race. I'm really looking forward to it, just like I looked forward to the Imola Grand Prix, and look how that turned out. So yeah, I'll see you guys for the European Grand Prix in the next episode. So I'll see you then.